Hello, welcome to another episode of Glorious Life on Wheels. This is not going to be a long video, but I think it's going to be a very significant one. I want to talk to you about a topic that's been in my heart and on my mind for a long time. And that is how we have all been told this big, gigantic lie. We've bought into it, and we've essentially been scammed. How have we been scammed? Well, I'm glad you asked. So come on and join me, and I'm going to tell you exactly how we've been scammed and give you just a few suggestions. And if you want, I'll perhaps do another video telling you some ideas that I think could help beat the scam. So come on, let's chat, shall we? I'm not going to make you wait until the end of this video to tell you what it is. I'm going to tell you right now. The big scam or the lie is that we'll work our whole lives for someone else. We'll spend the best years of our life making, as they used to call it, the man rich. And at age 65, we'll retire and we'll have golden years and ride off into the sunset and enjoy life because we will have earned enough to have a good life and to enjoy the rest of our lives. That's a lie. Now, maybe there was a time that rule or those guidelines were in effect. You know, my parents worked their whole lives. My dad was in the military. After he retired, he got another job. He retired from that. And you know, once they stopped working, they were able to live a fairly decent life. But you know what? Their house cost $15,000. Their mortgage payment was $54. Gasoline, I remember, was 29 cents a gallon. You know, things were so different. Let me ask you this. How many people do you know who have worked until they're 65, they retire, and in less than a year, we're going to their funerals? I can't tell you how many people I know that is their story because they give their best years making someone else wealthy. Then they retire. And if you have it good, you may have a few years where your health is good and you're able to maybe enjoy life. But oftentimes, your health is on the decline. But more often now, seniors are stuck financially, having to decide between buying food and having medication, paying rent or having medication. The rules have changed. You know, there was a book a while back called Who Moved My Cheese? And it's talking about how things continually move as you think you're getting to the goal, you're reaching it, the goalpost is moved. Well, that's what's happened to seniors. Let me tell you something. In the 1950s, I think around 1950, approximately, if my figures are right, my research is right, 23% of married women worked outside of the home. Right now, that figure is at least 73%. And why is that? Because you can't make it on one salary anymore. You can't even make it on two. I can't tell you how many people write into me and tell me that they have an ill spouse and they're scared to death because when their spouse passes, they're not going to be able to maintain their household. We've got rising electricity utility costs, rising insurance. Insurance in many parts of the country has tripled, rising taxes. So even if your house is paid off, you still may not be able to afford to stay in it. These days, for more and more seniors, retirement is a fantasy. It's just not going to happen. They're going to work until they drop. I was watching a YouTube video the other day, and the creator of the video does Uber. She was sharing how she met another person who was also driving for Uber, and this person was in their 80s. This woman was in her 80s, and she was doing it full time every single day, not just a couple hours a day, but full time every day in order to make ends meet. That is really the story of more and more seniors. Also, more and more seniors are becoming homeless. In fact, the fastest group of people falling into homelessness is seniors over 55. I mean, that's crazy. That's supposed to be our golden years, where the golden years aren't so golden anymore. In fact, they're pretty tarnished and pretty scary for many people over 55. Even for people who manage to stay on a job long enough to be retirement age, so often these companies shaft the people. I know of a number of people, seniors, who were within a year or so of retirement, of collecting their retirement, and they were laid off. I know of someone else who actually retired from a company, and she collected her retirement for about a year. She had paid into the retirement for 20 years. She collected it for about a year. The original owner of the company died. The adult children came in. I don't know how. She wasn't able to explain because she didn't really understand it. But somehow they pilfered the pension fund that was for the company, and all of the people who had retired and all of the people who had paid in lost their pensions, lost the retirement that they'd paid in for all of those years. And this person ended up going from what was going to be a comfortable retirement with a few $1,000s a month in retirement plus Social Security to only Social Security. Then there are situations where employees have worked for a city. There is one city in California, I don't remember the name of it. If you want me to look it up, I will. But city employees retired. They retired with a pension that was supposed to be guaranteed. They made their plans. They retired because of having this pension. The city filed bankruptcy. The courts allowed it, and the individuals who had already retired now receive half of the amount that they were going to receive in retirement. Now, this isn't people who were going to retire were going to get less. These are people who had already retired, as well as those who were going to retire, who are getting half. Can you imagine having your income, you've retired and you're living your life, and all of a sudden your income is cut in half? I mean, there's so many ways that seniors get shafted in our society. And the big scam that you work for a company for all these years, you retire, you have a retirement. Well, there are no more retirement plans. They're very few, and they're only typically now if you work for a governmental or county agency. But I look to that changing in the future and going to 401, where people will have to be responsible for saving on their own. And let's face it, do you really think that's going to happen? So we're going to have a whole generation that's going to be even worse than the current seniors. But again, the big lie, the big scam that we've bought into is work for someone else, make them rich, and you will get your reward in the end. It's a lie. And I'm telling you, you have to figure out how to get your own. You know, we look at sometimes, when I was working, there was a little lady who used to sell tamales out of the back of her trunk. And I used to think, poor thing, but you know what? She was smart. She realized she couldn't count on someone else. She had to do it herself. And these individuals who are selling fruit in stands on the side of the road, they have decided they're going into business for themselves so they can have some control over their money and when it starts, when it stops. And I'm telling you, in order to have some level of security, you're going to have some independent source of income that you are working for yourself and generating for yourself. You're also going to have multiple streams of income. and not count on one stream of income. And if you want, I will do a video. There's a stream of income that I've been looking at that I think could be a good possibility for seniors. But I don't know. I'm going to check it out, and I'm going to go out with this person who's doing it and have her kind of show me the ropes. If you want me to share that with you, let me know. But again, counting on the so-called man to fund your retirement, it's not going to work. And you will end up possibly on the streets or living in your car or vehicle, not by choice, but out of necessity. Don't fall for the big okie doke. You know, my mom used to tell us growing up, God bless the child who has their own. And I'm telling you, it's time for us to start getting our own, whether it's a small business, whether it's something you go into with someone else, but you cannot count on someone else to help you secure your retirement future or make your golden years golden. You're going to have to do it yourself. All right, well, enough of my mini rant for the day. I love each and every one of you. And if you have discovered this scam and are doing something about it and are taking steps to secure your own retirement, I love to hear about that in the comments. Or if you are in a situation where you've realized that you've made someone else rich your whole life and now you're struggling, let me know about that in the comments too. Meanwhile, I love each and every one of you. I will see you down the road, and don't forget to tune in to Saturday Glow Lives every Saturday at 3 p.m. Pacific, and we're going to be talking more about this on the next Glow Live. See you next time. Bye-bye.